Okay. Okay.
Uh, Are we there? Are we?
Yes, we're there. We're there, everyone. Hello. It's
Hello,
Kyra and Janet.
hello, everybody, or soon to be everybody, as we start this craziness.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. Let's do tell them what Awake and Unfiltered is and kind of where this all kind of got started and what we're doing. For my benefit as well.
Well, I'll start with the second part. What we're doing, we don't really know yet. That's what we're trying to figure out. So we'll get there. But we were talking a couple months ago, like we wanted an outlet to have like candid conversations and talk about the things that are going on and the angsty stuff that's going on and have honest conversations and maybe do it in, I don't want to say a positive light, but because I don't want to go into toxic positivity because a lot of shit is going down. We're gonna get real here. We're gonna say words. So we're gonna say words.
Say all the words.
All the words. But we're frustrated. We're frustrated about a lot of things with I'll just say this administration, and we're not politicos. We're not, here to discuss like all the interworkings of politics, but what's going on right now affects us all. Like, I think that we've seen that it affects us all. And I think, and I said this in one of my videos, that silence is complicity. Not that everybody needs to speak up like we're speaking up, but I think that one of the problems, maybe, I don't know, there's so many problems, but that we weren't speaking up loud enough and with as many voices as we can. So we just wanted to have this forum. And also for people out there who are like, yes, that's how I feel. I feel frustrated and unable to, do the things that I used to do and, just kind of just marred down by all of this heaviness, that we wanted to have this forum to talk about it. We wanted to have this forum to talk about the shit that's going down and also kind of how you can take care of yourself and build community and communicate. I think that's both of our strengths and what we do. We're communicators through writing or talking or however we do it. This is what we do and this is our outlet. So we've been talking about it for months and for various reasons, mostly my reasons, I've been putting it off. So I just sent you a text this week. I think it was just this week, or over the weekend, let's just do it. Let's do it this way before we get all, fancy and formalized, and let's just start. Don't let perfection be the enemy of productivity or whatever that saying is. Just
I think that's exactly right.
Okay, good.
Well done.
Yeah. What did I miss? All
right. So yeah, I've been, you know what, let's do this. Let's start with the good news.
Okay.
So what was your reaction to the outpouring of support for the protests on Saturday that you and I both in our different cities hung out in?
It was amazing. I went to the one in my city, and it was well attended and lots of people and a lot of good energy. And the people who couldn't protest, like there were people driving by, like making loops around.
That's what I was doing. I was that person.
Yeah.
Girl.
And some woman was driving by and her daughter was handing waters out because it was pretty hot down here. And so she was handing waters out, and that there's just a camaraderie, a community, just this joy of all these people who are like, yeah, we have to speak up. Like, we can't stand for this. So I thought it was beautiful. And every, news thing I hear, like, it ticks up the number of people. I'm not sure where we're at right now. Last 11 and a half, 12, 13. I thought I saw some official 13, but I listen, I'm not researching the source or whatever, but these are just things that I'm hearing. And I think that it was incredible. It was incredible.
Yeah. I mean, millions of people doing anything. Right? I mean, try to get me off my couch, right? Like, come on. Like, I mean, I saw signs that said, if a straight white guy is out here protesting, something's wrong. And I'm like, if you see a Kyra out here.
I had one like, this is so bad. And then you got an introvert out here too.
Yeah. It's so bad an introvert's out here. And, and that's exactly right. And like Todd was like, I want to go another round, because we were doing the rounds, and I wanted to take
Yeah.
video, and I wanted, to support in the way that I felt the safest and most comfortable.
Right.
And that was the way I did it. It felt so good. And he was like, I feel like we found our people here in Medford.
Oh,
And because, and he's like, oh, they're just all in their homes. They just don't, they care. They just don't come out,
right.
And so it was really cool to see him too, straight white dude, like
Right.
totally supportive and excited. He said my thumb was down on the horn like the entire time, just honking and
Yeah.
excited. And so everybody can find their own way to support something like this, I think. And so you find your way. I mean, this is me and Janet's way for right now, but this might evolve. But we're just, listen, I'm gonna tell you for real. I was having a really bad day today. It was a really hormonal day. On top of, so like my menopause journey is starting, and I was just furious. I've just been furious today. And knowing I was getting to talk to you,
Oh,
that made me feel better. Todd also, like, he I was like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." Not at him. He didn't do anything wrong,
right,
but just,
right. Just in
and
general.
yeah. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna go for a walk. And I was like, yeah, I'd leave too. I'm gonna suffer the wrath of all this crazy. And
Yeah.
he was like, okay, bye. And I was like, good job, dude. Take care of you. Well,
That's a good. That's a good
what he actually was doing was getting me an ice cream sundae from the Yogurt Hut. And I was like, oh
Oh,
man, this is a good guy, dude.
nice. That's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was having a bad day too. I didn't sleep last night, and lots of pain going on with different things. And I'm like, ugh, I just, and whatever latest news crap is coming on that horrendous, just one domino after the next, just hitting on all the horrible things. And I was just like, ugh. But same thing. I was like, okay, I'm going to talk to Kyra, and I never really considered it, but I thought, well, I could call and just put it off or delete all my social media.
Oh God, I thought, right, delete all my social media. Just we'll just do it later. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, fuck, I'll just go to sleep, and I'll wake up, and I will reset.
That's right.
Yeah.
But so that's again what we're doing, right? It's the community piece of it, right? So if you're feeling like we're feeling, and I think I was journaling after the protest, because I was thinking about, okay, tomorrow we're celebrating Father's Day. My son is going to be welcoming his first child. He's becoming a father this year. And, what I was writing is like, you have to grab joy. Like when joy comes in the form of a celebration, a birthday, a Father's Day, or in the form of ice cream, you got to grab it. You got to.
For real. For real. For real. And he got the right kind.
Yeah.
It was so good. Grab it.
Grab the joy and, have the conversations or talk to the people and eat the ice cream and celebrate the day without, talking about all this crap. Because
I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing. Well, on that note, here's the last thing I saw before.
Oh God.
Before we went on, before we started here, let me see if I can pull this out. Watch this shit.
Oh God. What is
it? God. Look at this.
Oh yeah, I saw that yesterday. That's nice.
Yeah. 2:30 yesterday. Trump admin issues a new rule allowing VA doctors to deny care to Democrats. Sorry, dipshit, but that goes against a doctor's oath, the Hippocratic oath.
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, what we've seen, that there is complete lawlessness in all of this. So, when you think, oh, he can't do that, but then, there's that one or two.
He does.
Yeah. And so it's like, what the hell's going on?
Well, what is they trying to do? Like, well, let's look at the motivation here. So if a VA doc says to a homeless veteran, who's trying to come in and get just a regular care, check care, or, to get his swollen feet from walking from one place to the next, or getting some amputation care, or doing some things like that, or getting some breath work care because of, all of the stuff that goes on, the chemical stuff that happens in from Vietnam, and, all that stuff.
Right.
And they're going to get their regular care. And what the VA doctors are supposed to say, are you a Democrat?
Right.
And if you're not, I'm sorry, you got to turn around and leave, even though you served our country. And not only that, but he's trying to, all of these stipulations, all these things that he's trying to do is trying to get people to be Republicans. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get people to say that, even if they're lying, to say it, so that eventually they'll just be it. And it's like psychological warfare.
That's what it is.
It is. And that's why he literally today, I believe, put out some dumbass Truth Social saying that Democrat power controlled cities need to be under attack by his ICE agents to get them under control. There is nothing happening. That's the thing. That's the mind-blowing thing, is nothing's happening. And so he's just trying to incite this thing, like, do you belong to the Nazi regime? If you say no, we're going to arrest you and put you in a gulag. Like, that's the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw one of my friends from work, she posted, ICE agents were down the street from her house. And so, like, it's a very real thing here. I've been telling people, like, if I need to get stuff for you, if I need to run errands for you, like, it's easier for me to move around in this world than it is for you right now. And I said that to my ex-husband, and I hate that I'm saying it right now. Why is it putting me in the position that now I need to, support my ex-husband in the things that he's doing?
Did you do enough of that?
But, I don't want him being picked up because he's Mexican. It's just unreal, the amount of worry from everybody. And then Trump, said, oh, wait, hands off on the hotel workers and the ag workers. And then he pulled that back. No, it's okay. You can go ahead and go after them. So, you got people in his ear going, do it. Don't do it. Don't, like, it's outrageous, and it creates that amygdala hijacking, the thing that we're feeling today, like this fight, flight, freeze, fall, and whatever, all the things.
Yeah, please and appease, right? And that's what he's hoping for. He's hoping for there enough people to be pleasing and appeasing, and saying, yeah, I'll just go for it, whatever. I wasn't all that strong one way or the other. And so, since it doesn't really seem to matter, this is a tide that, is like trying to put my hand up, to hold back the tide. It's not true. It's a lie. Your hand can most definitely hold back that tide. It is not water slipping through your fingertips. It is not that. And anybody who tries to tell you that, they are lying to your face. We can do this. We can take back the House. We can take back the Senate. Period. End of story. And it's not even taking it back for Democrats. It's taking it back for people. For people. I don't give a fuck about Democrats and Republicans and independents. I don't care. If a Democrat was doing this in office, I would be just as much against him as I am with this regime.
Yeah, 100%.
Girl, I am hot.
That ice cream didn't pull you off, that frozen yogurt. There's so much to be hot about. There's so much. And I think that we need to keep on talking about it and pointing out. And maybe I'll talk about, I posted a video today that just kind of said, like, how you doing? It's hard, and whatever. I said some stuff.
I saw that. Yeah. I saw that.
And then I had some some TikTok guy boosting my algorithm by commenting, like, so you're okay with liberals kicking women out of, or you're okay with liberals helping trans women take all of the girls out of sports. And I'm like, can't like, first of all, my video had nothing to do with trans, right? But that's the tactic, right? It's gaslighting and untruths and making something that, you know, I said there, because I looked it up, there are about 100 trans athletes. And I asked the question, are you an athlete where a trans person is taking your place? Are you? Because honestly, I don't have enough information to get into that fight, you know?
Me either.
I believe in human rights, but I don't have for trans in sports, like it's not my lane because I'm not in it. You know, I don't have a dog in that fight. I support human rights, but you know, it's like, what do you're sitting there in podunk middle America, and this is your talking point.
I know, because Trump made it the talking point.
That's
Trump
right.
made it against immigrants. Trump made it against, now Trump is making it as a civil war against Democrats, which makes absolutely no sense. We're the most benign, passive. Immigrants are incredibly passive. Like
right.
because they don't want to be like, they're like, hey, I'm gonna stay over here. You stay over there. Like, we're good. I'll pick your vegetables. You know, I'm just so infuriating. I mean, it's infuriating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but that trans issue is really, it's just something they decided that they were gonna, that enough people got upset about. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because you understand biology and DNA. You're going to understand that there is intersex. There are chromosomal differences. And scientifically, I know that's like, cool, you know, Republicans kryptonite, but MAGA kryptonite is to talk about science, you know, where things are proven with double-blind studies and stuff. Yikes. The truth is scary.
Yeah.
And so we do have XX, YY, XXY. Like, we have all these variations.
Right.
And so it's, you know, it could be something that we could rework that system so that athletes are matched more physically to each other in their competition.
Absolutely.
Regardless of sex. I think that men and women should compete. I think it should be something that could be, you know, I mean, I'm sure I'll get my ass handed to me for that comment, but there's just so much. I love those kinds of things. Like, have you ever seen, there was a show called Legacies. It's like a one of those Vampire Diary shows. Awesome. It was about the kids, and they competed in sports against each other. You know, and it was boys and girls on the teams, and it was always equally matched up. And it's because sports isn't about, I'm going to get one over on you. Sports is about camaraderie and connection and listening and cognitive ability in stressful situations, and some physical prowess as well. But ultimately, it's about building your cognitive awareness in stressful situations.
Absolutely.
Well, I didn't realize I had this much to say.
Well, that's why we're doing this. But you know, when you said sports isn't about getting one over on you, I thought, well, that's the Republican mindset, right? That's their mindset.
I'm gonna say, you know what? I want to stay Republican, but I also, and maybe this is just naive of me, because I've known a lot of really terrific Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, middle of the road folks. I've been a middle of the road Democrat, you know, who would never want to hurt anybody.
No.
And so, and I'm like, is it the insidiousness of this MAGA mindset gaslighting each other? Or is it truly the party? And unfortunately, I've been seeing some really bad stuff. Like with Michael Lee, he had to take down his posts, or he chose to take down his insensitive post about the lawmaker in Minnesota who was shot, and her husband was shot and killed. Right. And then the other lawmaker who was shot, and his wife, I mean, who was protecting their daughter while getting shot. I mean, come on. And this dickhead gets on there and says, just talking about Marxism and putting the picture of the guy up and do it. And I'm like, you're nuts, man. So there is some MAGA Mike Johnson. There's these really creepy people in Congress that I just don't think their constituents voted for that.
No, no.
Thank you. I'll be quiet.
No, you don't need to be quiet. Keep going. I just, the insensitivity and the cruelty and the meanness has just been like, it's obviously escalated, but it just seems to be the point, and it seems to be like there's no bottom, and there seems to be like there's no end to it. Like in my mind, like I'm always like, where's the humanity? Where's the humanity? I mean, it's just a circular kind of thought in my head that I would want to ask these people, but I don't, I don't want to talk to them too much. But, I just think that the humanity is lost. And going back to the sports things and trans, like, there are people who are part of organizations who are experts who can work that issue. Let them work that issue.
Yeah, let them work that issue. Yeah.
For the 100 trans athletes throughout the country. Let them work the issue. I don't care. I mean, I care, that people get fair treatment, but we are not in that community directly.
Yeah.
The sports trans community, so you don't have to have an opinion about everything. And it's
oh, how dare you, Janet? Of course.
Sometimes you can just like sit one out.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's so funny. Here's the thing that I see the difference. I see a primary difference between maybe MAGA Republicans and Democrats, or middle road Democrats, like we've been primarily all of our lives. I mean, this MAGA shit has made me become more hard on the Dem side, right? It's pushed me there.
Sure.
And but oh shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh man, I lost it. Hold on. Well, anyway, that was also a good point. I think these things are pushing us into situations that we don't normally go into anyway.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So what are some good things?
Good things. Oh, yeah. Let's see.
I know. Protests and ice cream, but actions. What else are you doing to keep yourself grounded? Like sometimes you got to take the L for the day.
It's true. Well, I will say this. So I'll pull up another way here. So Democrats.org, if you just want to kind of learn about what the flow is right now, like what's happening, that might be something that you might want to check out. They have a Facebook page also. It's Democrats on the Facebook page. And they just kind of put up, sometimes they put up, the stuff that we were all bored with, like anytime they put up a C-SPAN thing, I'm like,
yeah.
And now I'm like, oh wait, Jasmine Crockett's on here.
I know.
I
also talking my show's on.
Right. It's therapy. And so like she says all the things that I wish I could say, and but also too, just the moderate stuff. But even our Padilla, he was in Congress speaking about, what happened to him when he went to the Christino press conference. It was a press conference where people ask questions. And so he was speaking to that. So when you're seeing things, anybody who might be listening to this, one or two of you, God love you. Thank you. I love you so much. I think it says there's 2 people watching on my back. So perfect. It's probably just me. What?
I probably got it on my phone too.
Yeah.
It's me and you watching ourselves.
That when you get confused about something, don't just go, oh, that's the way. You go, I'm confused. What does that mean? ChatGPT it. I did that. I said, give me a nonpartisan, non-political, just give me the news of the day. Give me the highlights, and not Democrat, not Republican, just boom. And I think it's really helpful to do it that way instead of just going to the news, because it will go and look and scan all of the news outlets, and then it'll give you a bipartisan result or a non partisan result, and say Trump was at a G7 meeting and he left early due to the conflict in Israel and Iran. Right. It's not he's a loser and he left, or none of that stuff. It's just which I like that, because we can go too far. Like, I think Midas Touch is a really cool network, and I will go through with a discerning eye, and I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh yeah, that one would definitely make me mad. Click on it, and then I'm like, well, they didn't really say much there. Or I'll look at some others. But Brian Tyler Cohen, I feel every once in a while he gets a little bit hard on that Dem side. But there are times where it's just reporting information. I love it when Mark Elias is on there. And Glenn Kirshner is on there, because they're both lawyers. They've been in this industry for a long time. Mark Elias does a lot with the election stuff, and Glenn does a lot of stuff with the overall lawyer political, like what's happening in the legal field. So I like that he brings people on that are like that, who are just straightforward. But Democrats.org, I think, can also be a good place, like if you want to donate and understand who you're donating to. I think that's a good. Politico, I think, is a good one too.
Okay.
But,
for quick sound bites of kind of like the day's news, I like Under the Desk News. Like, she doesn't put a whole lot of commentary into it, so it's just kind of like, here's what happened, Yeah.
I think there's another one, the I've Had It gals. They do. I think it's called Grounded, where it shows you the article if it's more left leaning or more right leaning, or if it's centrist.
Okay.
And then that way you can kind of get a view of that, and then of course Reuters, AP. Kind of like how are we being perceived? It's a good breakdown. It's information.
Well, and I think that's the point to all of this, is like, stay informed as much as you can. There's so much going on every day, and it's infiltrating like everything between women's health and the economy. There was a article, I think, published today or this, in the Washington Post, that had a good breakdown of the economy and all of the impacts that are happening, like things that you don't even think about. Like it's no bueno, man. It's no bueno. I'm just saying it, like it's bleak. But these are economists and people who are, spend their life studying this stuff and understanding kind of all of these things. And that's what I look for. Not, Joe Schmo going, things are good, price of eggs are down, or
Right. And that, I think that's the thing. I mean, I get a close eye on, what's happening for our 401k and different things like that. We were figuring out, like, how far down does it have to go before we say, no, we're not going down any farther. Sell. Like, we're trying to figure, we found our number. And so we were like, okay. And then looking at the economy overall and looking at our local economy, like, I think for me, it's important that we continue to support locally. That's huge. And I think the economy can do a million different things, but where am I going to invest my money, energy? And I want to do it at the farmer's market. I want to do it with people who give a shit about me.
Right.
I want to do it in a community that are like-minded. I don't spend my money, to the best of my ability with super right leaning. Or MAGA people. Like, if I see a MAGA, if I go into a place and I see a MAGA, I'm walking right back out. I'm sorry,
100%. I'm with you on that. That's a 1,000,000%. It's just like, you don't get my money. And they had on, maybe it was Politico. I don't know where they had it. Oh, probably on whatever they advertised with his birthday party, right? All of the sponsors. Well, those are the people I'm not buying cars from or drinking their Coke products, or which
right. Well, that's interesting because there is oh gosh, I can't remember it now. I think it's called like good, oh shoot. It's called like good. I had it, my app on here. Now I don't know where I put it. Can't remember, but it was like basically Good Brands or something like that. And it was an app. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I heard about it. I didn't do anything with it. I thought, oh, I need to do something with it. And
right. And that's okay. So, and then it gives you a list of, everybody who is one way leaning or the other, I think. And so that way you can kind of support, who you want to support, which I think is huge. Ultimately, like at the end of the day, I don't want to fund his campaign.
No.
I don't want to fund his little minions campaigns. I don't, and I'm not going to, and so I'm not going to ever buy a Tesla, even if he's never going to promote or give money to a political affiliation ever again. Like Elon was like, I think I've done enough. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, you're killing people. Good job. Yeah, 50 people are already dead from AIDS. 50,000 people are already dead from AIDS because of you. Good job, Elon. Dick shit.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Such an angel.
We have so much to talk about, so many different things. Like
I hope I don't just like I'm a fire hosing situation.
But I think that the power of our dollar is important, and it's important to realize, because sometimes you think, if I just go to Target, then nobody cares. But when Target did their DEI thing, and then everybody stopped going, I stopped going.
I stopped going.
Yeah, and then I got confused because the woman from Walmart, the rich woman from Walmart, she put out an ad for the No Kings protest, but then they also sponsored the parade. So
okay, so we have a little double dipping going on. We have the support of each, and I mean, I guarantee you, Target has, gay pride flags, and they're selling them. You know what I mean? Like, they look at you while they're shitting on you. Like, it's like at least they're making eye contact.
That's right.
What's happening?
Oh my God.
I might have to delete this.
It's out there live, man. It's over. It's over.
It's over. It's done.
What's done is done. Right. It's something that I've been particularly passionate about just in my work, aside from all of this, but you can't separate it, but is just women's empowerment. It's like making sure to, talk to women and step into their own and be authentic and own their strengths and do all the things, right? And I think that is so important now, as I just want people to realize the continued hit on women's rights that will be, those are coming as well, more and more. You see them tested in different states, all the different legislation and all the things, and our rights are being stripped, and I want people that, and going back to the previous conversation, if we have economic power, if we've got economic stability within ourselves, we've got the power. So, it's a passion of mine. So there's lots of things going on in the women's space. Did you hear about Adriana?
That's exactly what I was going to look up. Yes, she is still brain dead. She just had a 31st birthday because she's still technically alive and incubating a baby who.
No, they took the baby by C-section.
Did they? Oh.
And they let her go. The baby was 1 pound, 6 ounces. Her corpse was no longer able to sustain the baby, of course, So, if that doesn't alarm you, let me just, if that doesn't alarm you, this case, Adriana Smith, then who are you? The devaluing of women and minorities and LGBTQ and not thinking of us as human, but as different vessels for what they want to achieve. I got goosebumps because I am just like, we are not thought of as humans.
No. Well, listen, it's not long ago, right? Well, now we're just, we're just essentially backtracking, right? We're just,
right.
But Black people up until recently, and then now, no, the medical, the way that Black people were looked at medically was as an animal, not as a human being. So they did massive testing on Black people to figure out what their pain threshold was. I mean, the atrocities against people of color is breathtaking.
Yeah.
It is breathtaking.
Yeah.
And women, white women, well, we're just next, and not that we had all that much going for us anyway.
Yeah. No.
Shit. I mean,
no.
God, we've just all been breeding mules for people.
And I want people to see the link of between rolling back DEI, right? And everybody's like, merit-based and, the people of color. But I want people to understand that this affects women too, and our ability to get adequate schooling and jobs to support ourselves, right? I mean, it just eliminates our ability to support ourselves effectively. So therefore we can be the unpaid labor to men.
Right.
It's just, all of this is built into this flow of, no birth control, no abortions, no education, then,
keep us small.
Right. When they rolled back the Exxon thing, was it the Exxon thing? The protections of, where the agencies would be the ones who are the authorities to make the decisions about kind of whether you've been discriminated against, right? Or whether you've created a violation with the environment, right? But now it's like, nah, we'll just let judges decide. We won't take into consideration the expert opinions of the people who have been trained to tell us. So, so you could be discriminated at work and they can decide, well, we don't want women in senior leadership anymore.
Right.
And that's absolutely where it's going. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist or an alarmist, but all of this is leading to that. And then, the last frontier is the age of consent. Is that it? Where it's like, okay, let's just eliminate the minimum age for somebody to get married. What is that about? You know what that's about. So
yeah. Pedophilia. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pedophilia and keeping
control
pregnant and producing babies.
Yeah.
And limiting their economic value,
yeah.
their economic availability. So
and I know, and what the most bizarre part of all of it is, any minority, women, people of color, Hispanic, Latino communities, people who vote against their best interests.
Yeah.
That's the part that I am so completely unclear about. I don't understand that fully yet. I don't understand the psychological implications of that. Is it to protect themselves? Is it to stay safe? Is it to make it easier on themselves? Or do they really believe that if they vote against their best interest, they don't know that it's voting against their best interest? They don't realize it. It's not getting to them cognitively yet. I think that they're getting it now. I think that a number of people are getting it now, but I don't think all of them are. I still think that they see the things that are happening and still listening to this ding dong, in chief, tell them what to think, and I think that that's where education comes in. And this is what they're trying to weed out of us, is our critical thinking ability.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I will say this though, as much of my, what do you call it? Gravitas, video. What is it called? Like when you're all bravado. Come on.
Sounds like.
I saw that Kristi Noem went to the hospital today. And we don't know what happened, but I think it was maybe an allergic reaction to something. But I was on Brian Tyler Cohen's Facebook feed, and they were just shitting on her. And I was like, no, when they go low, we go high. Every single person. And I even commented, I said, do not make us them. That's not how this works. Yes, I'm going to call the big orange shit a big orange shit. But if he was in the hospital, even though there might be a part of me that might be a little bit like, I do know that as a human being, and there being another human being in turmoil, it's still important for us to say our prayers, to offer love, to offer support, to offer kindness, like every single Democrat did when he was shot at, right? Or shot.
You're a little bit of a better person than me. Because
well, you're also in LA. You're like in it. You're in the thick of Kristi Noem crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but all of them. It's not just her. Like, I don't want to stoop to their level and be mean and be like the guy who did the tweet or whatever he did about, shooter, right? So I don't want to be mean or attack on, anybody's incontinence or anything like that. I don't want to like stoop to their level and be mean like that. But I'm not going to wish them well. I have to tell you, I'm not going to pray for them. If they're experiencing something horrific, I'm like, yeah. I mean, in my heart, I'm like, how does it feel? I'm like, how does it feel? And hope you get through it, but
I'm always like, like you ever see somebody fall down and you're like, oh, are you okay? And then you realize they're okay and you're like, that was
hilarious. Yeah. But you're holding back the laugh.
Kind of like, I feel that way.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, you're okay. You're what a dumbass. I don't know if we had any comments or anything like that on our program.
On our crazy program.
On our crazy wild moment.
Well, if people are listening to this live or on a replay or whatever, like if there's something that you want for us to go deep or discuss or you're struggling with or anything, because we're gonna, probably, talk about
try it. We're just trying it out for a few weeks and see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And you asked a great question. What are some tools that I use to get through this? Well, number one is I know that all of the day's BS is still going to be there when I look at it. So I don't have to look at it.
Yeah.
Constantly. It's not affecting me. I if I was in LA and, and I had people in my life who could be harmed by this MAGA regime, it might be a little bit different. But I'm in a privileged place where I can turn it off until a certain point of the day where I have capacity to see what's going on. So that's one thing that I can do that I haven't been doing lately. So that's my vow to you, friends, is that I'm only going to check the news once a day when I have capacity. Doing all the things that feel good. Like, we live in an apartment and we have a pool. It's freezing, but I'll go in there, dunk my head in, play with the kids. Yeah. Not my kids, but other people's kids.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, but and just kind of be weightless.
Yeah.
For a minute, just be weightless. Let the world fall for a second. You don't have to hold it up all the time, Kyra. and have conversations like this with your friends.
Yes.
You know, get involved in some community stuff. Like if you know that in your area there's, like, you can look it up, you know, look it up on, you could do ChatGPT, you could look it up on like Reddit. You know, there's Med for Democrat thing, you know, on Reddit. Look up and see who believes the way that you do,
Yes.
and go and hang out with them or go to their next event or whatever and just see what happens. Had a great conversation at our local little towny fair thing
Mm-hmm.
where a lady, you know, it was just two ladies there. They had their Democrat tent up. They're so cute. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy I get to meet you and talk to you. And we didn't, you know, we didn't shit on Republicans. We just were like, what can we do to help elect our officials for this, you know, school board, you know?
Right.
And it was like, all right, well, yeah, I can vote for them, or, you know, hey, you know, I'm gonna learn more about them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so those are the things that I think can help. And also just anything you do to help regulate your nervous system on a day-to-day basis, just a good breath in and a good breath out, you know?
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
I think the breathing, I think I need to get better. I think I need to do more things that help me out, you know, and not live in the news cycle. And, you know, I have a pool, and that's my healing place. It's like my place. I just haven't had time to go in there, or the opportunity. Anyhow, so, you know, more pool time, more time in the water. Water is healing. You know, it's, you know, healing for me, and going outside more. And, you know, I'm struggling with this kind of business as usual. Like, I'm like sometimes pissed off that people are like, business as usual. We're not talking about, but it's like, we need to do business as usual, because we need to not be focused on this all the time. Because like you said, like whatever happened today, you know, you could hear about it tomorrow. And, you know, as long as we're doing the things to stay informed and see how we can get involved and have the conversations and create community. And the other thing that I'm doing, and I'm saying I'm doing because I'm not, it's happening on my property, but creating some sustainability, some emergency supplies. It just makes me feel better. I have somebody who lives here with me renting a room, and she's all about the garden stuff. So we've got an apple tree, and we've got a little greenhouse thing, and peppers and cucumber, like all the things. So, I mean, it helps me to kind of like be like, okay, whatever happens, like I'll make it through. I mean, because, you know, I think about things about them attacking infrastructures and things like that, especially here. I mean, we talk about blue cities, right? Attack on blue cities and this and that. Like, it's just a consideration. So, you know,
yeah, dude. I think about it all the time. I'm like, how fast do I need to get to I am such a weirdo, seriously. Like, I am always thinking, but I was like, okay, one of the first things that we learned as kids, or at least I did, was that whenever a big storm came, you fill up your bathtub with water.
Yes. Yeah.
That was one of the first things that I learned as a kid. Mm-hmm. And so we have 2 bathtubs, and I'm like, okay, so if the big one hits, whatever that one is, it doesn't matter what it is. Right. I'm like, okay, I fill up the bathtub. Yeah. So we have water to flush toilets. We have, you know, whatever. Yeah. The other thing that I learned during the pandemic was about, I think I said this on one of my videos at one point during the pandemic, was like using reusable cloths for toilet paper instead of toilet paper.
Interesting. Okay.
You know, and, you know, using the paper for just, you know, the other stuff, but like, you know, easing that, and then, you know, cleaning them and washing them and that stuff in little bags. So there is that, you know, it's like I learned how to make do with little if necessary. Right. And because you can drink your bath water, you know, if worst comes to worst, you know, I mean, it's okay. And so it's, you know, just keep everything nice and clean. Yeah. And so, yeah, I get it. Like, I am like, okay, what do we need? What do we have? You know, we have canned goods. Do we have stuff? And, you know, and other sources of electricity. I have one of those Jackery things that like is where you know, it'll give you current for a little while to at least charge your phone, your computer, your lighting.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I would say just have a place where you put all of your camping stuff, and
Mhm.
just make sure you have some really good upgraded camping things.
Yes, absolutely. It gives you peace of mind because whether it's for anything that happens or because we have an earthquake, whatever, I'm prepared. And, I think that we are in for the long haul with all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're in for the long haul, unless something, because I fantasize about some, Superman type of person coming in to save something. And I still believe that will happen.
Wouldn't that be fun?
I
It's
have
gonna
to
be
hold
Henry
on to it.
Cavill.
I have to hold on to it, you know, but I'm a realist too, and I see what's going on. And even if Superman comes in and saves something, there's still forces out there that still want all of these other things to happen, right? All of these. So
Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Like we can't just look at it. See, this is the thing, and people, oh well, when Trump is unable to complete his term, or if he, whatever, something happens and he's not able to complete his term. Let's just put it that way. You got JD, who is one of the worst. I mean, he's the worst.
him and Mike
And
Johnson are tied into the Heritage Foundation, and they're the ones who are driving all of these elimination of rights of people.
right.
So,
Right. But I don't think that in general, the Republican Party really, I don't know how much they respect him. I think that they just hired him because he was on the ticket with Trump. I don't think that he would have gotten the presidential ticket, you know. And so I don't know how far he could take many of the things, because he doesn't have that gravitas. He doesn't have that, bullying thing that Trump has. Now, that could be a good thing for us. But ultimately, like you said, there's a plan set in place. It's been set in place for 20 years. It is not new. It is something that has been carefully, weirdly, carefully, the architecture on it is carefully designed,
right.
and it is meant to hurt Democrats. And it's meant to hurt the American people, and it's meant to help the wealthiest of the people in the US. It is meant for those big dogs. So, when we look at things, to me, this helps me to get clear about my determination.
Yes.
That's the thing. This conversation is just helping me get clear on my determination.
That's right. And there are things that we can do.
Yeah.
Whether it's listening to these conversations, supporting them, you see something online and it represents, support people getting this information out there, and the things that we can do and to support one another and create that community. It's just so critical.
Yeah. So, do you want us to share your website? You cool with that?
Sure.
All right. Let me pull up our websites here. All right, Jana Zavala, JanaZavalaCoaching.com, right?
Yes.
And AsYouWishPublishing.com. The other reason why, it's like, well, what does that have to do with anything? What does this political stuff have to do with publishing? It's about a movement of expressive freedom. It's about being able to share, like if Nazi Germany, all radio communication was regulated. All radio communication and all communication whatsoever is regulated in North Korea. We could not have this conversation in Nazi Germany. We could not have this conversation in North Korea. We could not have that. Yeah. So as long as we have a voice, we need to share it. And As You Wish Publishing, we are dedicated to helping people.
Yeah. I was thinking about that over the weekend too, like as I was journaling, like people need to document their experiences and their feelings and everything related to what's going on. And, we need to be the documentarians, at least even from a heart-centered place, I think hopefully there are people who are, documenting the other stuff, but I think that we need to tell our stories, and tell our stories of resistance and all that other kind of stuff. And then if you get to a place where you're doing that and you're like, oh, there's something here, then you can have it published. You can have your works out there. You can have it available for people to have and to know what your experiences were. And this regime, you said the perfect word, the regime that we're in, that this is going to be one of the key things that keep us alive and keep us going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think about that. It's not a movie, but it was a series, and it was a book, All the Light We Cannot See. And it was basically from the French perspective of World War II. And it's a really powerful view of it. Was Hugh Laurie and Mark Ruffalo were in that movie together, and it was a powerful film. And it's a series, limited series, and really incredible. So if you check that out, I think it's good to go back and remember some things from our past so that we don't repeat our past. But tell them about your coaching too. Because I have had the privilege to get a bit of coaching from Janet along the way. She's been a good friend. She's been somebody that I can, I called, and said, what is going on, and she always has this really clear voice of reason. And she's able to do that with her clients. I see that you are able to compartmentalize, which I think is really a superpower of yours.
Yeah, I just want women to step into their power, because I believe in the power of women. Like I believe that we can change the world. We can change the tides. Like, I think it's up to us to do it. And so that's what I do with my coaching. It's like, that's at the macro level, but in the micro level, it's like, okay, I'm working with clients to, how can you improve your, create a career strategy? How can you gain that confidence, right? Because some of us are just like swimming in this doubt and, being unsure. So helping clients get to clarity, and then helping them get to where they want. Because, when I'm working with somebody and I can see their power and their strength before they can see it. So then I start to, tell them, and coach them through how they can start to see it themselves.
Yeah, you're standing beside them on their journey and holding space, which is incredibly powerful. Like if somebody is believing in you more than you believe in yourself in a critical turning point moment, it defines who you can become. And that's your power. That's your superpower, girl. You are Superman.
Thank you. I just want women to like really recognize that and let's go. Like, we can, what in whatever way that you feel comfortable doing, let's go.
Yeah, I love it.
Sure.
Janet, I love you, girl.
I love you too.
I'm gonna stop our streaming here, but guys, check us out on our websites. But otherwise, we'll probably see you back here next Tuesday. Yeah. I'll probably try to figure out some of our technical stuff, but I don't know. We'll figure it out.